We all know the Pittsburgh Steelers are really banged up right now. Well, just recently, they got a major update news on basically all of their injured players, and some of them will be returning. Also, the Rams, they've gotten major injury update news as well, and many people are out and won't be playing this game against the Steelers this weekend. So, to start off, obviously we're going to start with the Steelers. They have many players injured from Cameron Heyward, Diontae Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, Anthony McFarland Jr., Dan Moore Jr., and some more. And most of those players will be returning this Sunday, or at least are in a road to recovery. So to start off, Cameron Heyward, he's still going to be out for a couple more weeks, and he's expected back maybe within the next 3 to 4 weeks, but he's still injured, and there's no really update on him. But the other guys, there are updates. So to start off with Diontae Johnson, when asked in the media in an interview done this week after the bye week, he was asked if he would be playing this week's matchup against the Rams, and he said he expects to be back 100% and be playing. And Diontae Johnson, it looks like he's on that road to be playing this Sunday, and if he does, it'll be a major spark for the Steelers offense that I'll get more into later in the video. But Diontae Johnson, who dealt with a hamstring injury week 1 against the San Francisco 49ers, it's always a tough spot when you get injured week 1. He looks like he'll be back this Sunday against the Rams. Looking at Pat Freiermuth, who's also dealing with a hamstring injury, the same as Diontae Johnson. Even though Diontae Johnson had to go on IR with his hamstring injury, and Pat Freiermuth only suffered his against the Houston game, and Diontae Johnson suffered his against San Francisco, sometimes there are levels to hamstring injuries, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. We don't know how bad Diontae Johnson's was, how bad Pat Freiermuth's was, but when asked in the media, Pat Freiermuth was asked if he's be playing this week, and he said he 100% expects to be back as well. So that would be a really good sign, getting back Pat Freiermuth as well, your starting tight end, and hopefully someone could help you in that passing game and open up a spark for this offense, getting back Diontae Johnson and Pat Freiermuth. Also, another injured player who got injured week 1 against the San Francisco 49ers. He went down with a knee injury, Anthony McFarland Jr. We all know he's not been playing as much on the actual offensive side of the ball, maybe a few plays here and there. He did have a catch, but looking at special teams, that first week against San Francisco, even though he didn't have much returns, in his limited opportunity in the preseason and the regular season in San Francisco, he made most of his opportunity in the kick return game. And it's always going to be a good sign when we don't have to see Gunnar Olszewski or Desmond King returning kicks, because so far this season, the kick return game has basically been non-existent since that first game with Anthony McFarland Jr. missing the rest of the time. Anthony McFarland Jr., he's a fast guy, explosive guy, and he showed that week 1, and hopefully him coming back can open up explosiveness in the kick return game and set the offense up nicely. Another injury update, but this one only happened against Houston as well. Dan Moore Jr., went down with a knee injury very early in that game, and Broderick Jones had to take over for him from the Houston game, but also last week making his first start against the Ravens. And this one is a little bit tricky because it has Steelers fans all over the place. They obviously don't want nothing bad to be wrong with Dan Moore Jr., and they want him to heal fast. But on the other hand, they're talking about him missing time might have more of an opportunity for Broderick Jones to start, because if Dan Moore Jr. gets activated and is cleared for the game, he more than likely will still get back his starting job, and many Steelers fans don't want that. They want Broderick Jones to start. Well, I'm here to tell you that Dan Moore Jr., it looks like he will be active this week, and he will probably be playing. We all know that's what the Steelers do. They usually don't just take people out of their starting position because they got injured. We've seen that years back in the playoff game with Kevin Dotson being benched for Matt Filer after his injury was basically cleared, and that didn't work out good. But Broderick Jones, I don't expect him to continue starting if Dan Moore Jr. is healthy and is able to play, unless obviously down the road he continues to play poorly. But as of right now, just him coming back, I still think Dan Moore Jr. would be starting. But at least it's a good sign that Dan Moore Jr. is healthy and it was not a serious knee injury, and he should be really fine for this upcoming game this Sunday. But who starts? That's a different story. Now, let's talk about the Ravens side of the ball before I go back to the Steelers and talk about the impact of those players. Let me just talk about the Rams, because the Rams are dealing with injuries as well, and they're dealing with it at the running back position. The running back position for the Rams was already slim with Kyren Williams and Ronnie Rivers basically as the only two guys, while both of them are now expected to miss the game for the Steelers. Talk about Kyren Williams first, because obviously he's had a very big impact on this team ever since Cam Akers got traded to Minnesota. Talking about Kyren Williams, he's been one of the best running backs in this league and a surprising pickup and a surprising person for the Rams and the entire NFL. So Kyren Williams, he rushed for 158 yards against the Cardinals this past Sunday, and he suffered an ankle injury and he left without a boot, but he is getting an MRI and it's expected that he's going to miss 1 to 2 weeks as much. So meaning he's going to be out for the Steelers game. Also, Ronnie Rivers, who is his backup and someone who only sees time in limited capacity, but he's still the backup and the second guy just in case Kyren Williams got injured. And Kyren Williams is injured. So now Ronnie Rivers, he's believed to have a PCL strain, and it could keep him out for a few weeks and maybe even 4 to 6 weeks. So both those players are expected to be out for the Steelers game. Kyren Williams with an ankle injury and Ronnie Rivers with a PCL injury. So both their running backs are now expected to miss the game. So they're going to have to go to their third string running back, which is basically their fourth string since Cameron Akers was their second string, but he got traded. So they're going to their fourth string running back. And behind him, they don't have anyone except for a practice squad guy. So the Steelers are going to be facing a running back-less team against the Rams. But we all know the Rams have good wide receivers and they like to throw the ball anyway. Also, this one's not an injury update, but this is just an update. Los Angeles Rams starting cornerback Darren Kendrick has been arrested on firearm possession, and it looks like, I don't know if he's going to be able to play, but he got arrested during the week, so I don't know how that's going to go, but that's just an update there as well. The cornerback for the Rams, starting cornerback, arrested. Also, just talking about Ahkello Witherspoon real quickly, because he was with the Steelers last season. He's been playing really solid for the Rams, so it's going to be exciting to see what he's able to do against George Pickens and what he's able to do against Diontae Johnson, Kelvin Austin, whoever he's guarding. But he's been doing really good, and coming back from the injury that he dealt with the Steelers last season, a hamstring injury, he was able to find his footing with the Rams. So let's see him against the Steelers this Sunday. But that's just an update for the Steelers side of the ball and the Rams side of the ball, and I believe this was a huge update, and most of it was positive for the Steelers. Basically, all their injured players, all the ones who play a lot in games, they're going to be returning for the Steelers. The only person who's still out is basically Cameron Heyward. So they're getting a huge update. The Rams, on the other hand, aren't getting a good update. They're more of getting a bad update. So the Rams versus Steelers, it should be interesting. And Diontae Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, and Anthony McFarland Jr., those guys should be a big upgrade for the Steelers on each of those positions. Diontae Johnson to the wide receiver group, who has been struggling besides George Pickens, and the tight end group, Pat Freiermuth, even though he did play in most of the games so far this season, but just hasn't produced. Anthony McFarland Jr. to the special teams, and hopefully Dan Moore Jr. makes an impact on the offensive line, and he becomes better after the injury. But those updates are key for the Steelers, and expect basically all of them to be playing and playing a lot this Sunday. But that was some good news for the Steelers, bad news to the Rams. But let me know down in the comments below, how do you feel about each of those injuries and these guys coming back? How do you feel it'll impact the team? Do you want Broderick Jones to start or Dan Moore Jr. to start? And how do you feel Diontae Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, and Anthony McFarland Jr. will affect this team? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below as well if you'd like serious content, analysis, reports, highlights, rumors, game breakdowns, reactions, commentary, everything like that. This is a spot for it to stay up to date with everything Steelers throughout the regular season, off season. Every single day I post a video. So like, comment, subscribe with notifications on. I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.